Later, dude.
Raring engines shake the ground, kicker sound spinning round, metal hearts pounding the beat, feel the rush at your feet. Tear the night with electric scream, amped up dreams fuel the stream, thunder blast through endless skies, driving forward never dies. Kicker unmasked, live it loud, break the silence, join the crowd, rock the planet, feel the fire, shake the world, lift it higher. Whoa! Wires twist like veins of steel, born to crush, born to feel. Lightning runs through every chord, power surge, the final word. Shatter chains with sonic waves, carve the air like razor blades. No escape, no retreat, victory tastes so sweet. Kicker unmasked, live it loud, break the silence, join the crowd, rock the planet, feel the fire, shake the world, lift it higher. Hey, yeah.
Hey guys, it is Tuesday night. Welcome to another edition of Unmasked Live right here, coming to you from Stillwater, Oklahoma. Got a bunch of our good guys tuning in as I see from the board. Got El Fuego, of course we got Living Loud with Andy. We got Peter out there, Brian, Gary, and a whole bunch of you guys. And thank you guys for tuning in. We can't do this without you. We're going to have some fun tonight. We had a lot of fun the last show. The last show we went over a bunch of the new products we introduced at SEMA, which should be coming out in the very near future. But all importantly, we went over very, very briefly details on some of the new woofer that we're going to introduce and get you some in-depth detail tonight. So we got a great history of people with us. We've got Steven behind the camera back here. Back behind me we have Ernie, we have JW, and of course we've got Colin tuning in from remote, taking care of all the typing that goes up on the screen. Can't do the show without them, and can't do it without you guys tuning in to watch us and have a good time. So we got special guests coming up tonight on the show. We have got a lot of exciting things going on, and don't forget, if you guys have not registered tonight, if this is your first time, we do give away stuff on every show. We're going to give away a KICKER t-shirt, a KICKER koozie to all three winners tonight, but you're also going to get the TW3s, which is the #1 prize, the TW2s, which is the #2 prize, and the TW1s, which is the 3rd place winner. And as always, I want to thank my wonderful wife for putting up with me and supporting me in this. I found out really recently that she does occasionally tune in, so I promise you I'll be home after the show, not maybe right after the show, but sometime after the show, anywhere between now and tomorrow morning. We'll figure that one out later. Just depends on what we decide to do later. So without any further ado, we are going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to have our special guest for the night. And of course, as you can see here in the corner of the screen, my very special guest product we're going to talk about in detail. See you guys in 60 seconds.
It's been a long road since the original KICKER christened that first pickup truck. It kicked off a car audio renaissance, and upgrading your music in a vehicle was a requirement. America's music machines became living loud over your passion, your emotion, your existence. Outdoors or on the open road, your sound is KICKER.
More than 50 years, KICKER has been rocking the planet on anything that moves. KICKER, the legacy continues.
Guys, welcome back. And if you watched the last show, we talked about something extra special that we're going to give away. If you guys didn't know, we're also going to be giving away a $2,500 Christmas audio package. So make sure you sign in to Kicker Weekly to sign up for that. I'll be the wonderful guy that gets to help you design your exact system of your dreams for $2,500, or the particular gear you want for $2,500, just to get you started on the system of your dream. But we're going to keep going here. I've got a special guest with me tonight. I have none other than the head engineer for our acoustics projects. We're going to have Kyle Ambrose come up and join me. Kyle, why don't you come on and join me over here? This is Kyle's first night, so he's a newbie on the show, but treat him nicely because we would love to have him come back. So it's kind of a special honor to have Kyle with us tonight. Kyle, thanks for joining us.
Hey, John. Good to be here.
So let's get a little background on you, Kyle. How long have you been working for Kicker?
I've been at KICKER for 21 years now.
21, wow.
Yes.
That's a long time. So what did you do when you started?
So whenever I started, I was an acoustic technician assistant.
And what does that do?
I helped test all the acoustic projects that came through.
Cool. And your present job is?
I am now
Since I blundered that in the beginning.
I'm the mechanical engineering manager now. Yep.
Which, what aspects of the speaker design do you have basically oversight of?
So how the product fits together, how it's built, how it looks. My group deals with all of that. We work closely with a lot of people to make a product, but our main focus is how it fits and how it looks.
Well, and you said very importantly, the group. I mean, we've got a lot of very, very talented
Yes,
people
we
here
do.
that spend a lot of hours. And this is not just a job for us. I mean, this is all we do. We absolutely love doing this. So audio is our passion.
And this is an awesome place to work.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you've been here 21 years. I've been here 29. I know Ernie's been here, 25 years, Ernie? Something like that? So it's been a heck of a ride, and it's because of products like this that we get to actually come out and have fun. But, we need to really dig into this because the time's going to go by really quick before we get over a lot of this stuff. So I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions. We're going to try to answer as many as we can. There's still a few details we can't give out to you guys, but anything we can divulge, we will. We promise. I mean, that's why we're here. This is the in-depth dive. But first of all, we want to talk about, obviously, the Solo X. We introduced that. Was that 2002, I think? The original recountable woofer. You would have been here that time, or just about that time?
So I started in 04.
Okay.
So the Solo X was still relatively fresh.
Still alive and beaten.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, but what a beast that thing was. I think I mentioned it a couple times. I hated putting those in because I always pinched my fingers, dropping them in the mounting hole.
They were monsters.
106 pounds. That was a pretty impressive speaker, and that's back before there really were a lot of speakers to that potential.
Oh yeah.
And I know the motors on those things are still in demand, but I think we're going to give them something to think about with this new product here.
I think so.
So, obviously, 2 years ago, we introduced the X woofer,
Yeah.
which was the rebirth. We took everything we've learned over the years about SPL, and we kind of sat back and took our notes and made a lot of detailed plans. We introduced the X, and that woofer really did everything that we said it was going to do. And your team, obviously, to give credit for all the exciting things that did. And what a monster that thing was. I mean, I didn't think we were ever really going to top that, but now we're talking about the XS woofer. And the interesting thing is, if I get some of these facts wrong, and I do occasionally, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we start the development of the XS before the X?
We did, yeah.
So this thing's been on the drawing board for a very long time.
It has been a long time coming, for sure.
So when you've got a woofer like the X, that does everything we said it would do, and it really is an amazing acoustical, marvel. What were some of the design challenges with the original Solo X woofer that we had? Obviously, we had to be better than the first one, and had to be better and more powerful than the other speakers. But what were some of the real design challenges? I mean, you can say in paper, "Hey, we want this to be the baddest woofer on the planet. We want it to handle X amount of power." But when it comes to actually making those things reality, that's what you and your team does.
Yeah.
What were some of your big challenges on that speaker?
So we wanted a speaker that was rebuildable without glue. We had to come up with a way that was easy for the user to do that process. That was one challenge. A big one was to gain the excursion that we wanted and to keep the mechanical noise to a minimum, and really in a square format where we still want that advantage of more cone area. It's actually a difficult task to do.
Yeah, and I remember, the challenges we had with getting the thing to hold together with the cone travel, and all the different challenges, and
we went through so many different types of glues and materials that could handle the heat, and it was a challenge, absolutely.
I mean, then you talk about all the different cone materials, surround materials. I mean, voice coil. I mean, how many different types of voice coil? You got round wire, you got flat wire, you got octagon wire.
Yep.
Multi-layer, which way you wind it, flat wound or edge wound. I mean, there's all these things that, I wouldn't even know where to begin. So.
Well, and thankfully for us in the mechanical team, we have awesome crew on the acoustic side, like acoustic engineers that can help us through all that stuff. They'll spec out materials that they want to try, and we'll get it tooled. We'll get samples ordered, then we'll run through our testing, and if that didn't quite get where we wanted it to, we'd come up with something slightly different, keep sample after sample after sample.
So, and that's another really interesting fact is, we got the X woofer, the half of an X woofer up here in front of me.
Yep.
To basically back up what he's saying about, the design and the trial and error, this isn't just, draw it on paper, make it happen, and it works. How many different revisions of the X woofer were made?
Oh, my goodness.
I think you told me a number once, before woofer 1 was sold.
Yeah, before woofer 1 was sold, I want to say we were close to 30 rounds.
30 different versions.
30 different versions of that subwoofer before we got to where we were comfortable with releasing it. Yeah.
And that tells you the dedication that his team has to making sure the product is going to perform and sound exactly the way it was. I mean, these are just SPL woofers, right? They don't sound good, do they?
Oh, no. No.
It's Kicker, right?
They sound really, really good.
And it is amazing how good they sound. I mean, I think I was probably one of the first people that kind of broke the mold and put one in a sealed enclosure.
You sure did, yeah.
And
it sounded awesome.
Yeah, and I had to grab you to come back and listen.
Yeah.
We did that in Sean Ellington's car, Murder Nova. We did it in his 81 Caprice wagon. Man, those things sounded good, sealed. And, with Steve being a musician and, all the talented team here, we're not going to just build a speaker that just moves air, that is just loud, that just makes a number on paper.
Right.
They've got to sound good. And I'm going to rant just a little bit because I try to follow the posts as much as possible. And I know you do too. You're on a lot of the posts and answer a lot of things. And we always try to listen to what our listeners and our viewers are talking about. But it just drives me crazy when I keep seeing posts on any of the woofers, especially before they were released, that, it's not going to sound good because it's so heavy, it's just an SPL speaker, it'll never sound good, and they're going to be way too expensive. And it's like, first of all, you guys have never heard it because it has been released. We've never published prices on it, which we're not going to talk about tonight. I'll let you know, we're not going to go into pricing tonight. That is not this show. This show is all about the making of this woofer and how badass it really is. But guys, you can have a big high-performance woofer that still sounds good. And that's part of what Kyle's team does, is they take all the parts, and you can't just take a speaker and put a huge magnet on it and put a big lip surround on it and expect it to perform.
Yeah.
That's just not the way it works. It'd be like taking an engine. It's like, I'm just going to put bigger pistons in the engine. It's going to have more power. Well, no, there's a whole lot of other things that got to change for that to happen.
Yep.
And it's got to change to make it work. So how do you test some of that stuff? How do you actually put the pieces together? Do you do it all mechanically? You just have the parts made and put it together and try it? Or there's some tests you can do like with a computer or on paper to kind of simulate what you're going to experience?
So we design all of our subwoofers and amplifiers all in CAD and SolidWorks. And then whenever all that is reviewed, like we have a team that will review our designs, then we'll start tooling whenever we're comfortable with that. Once the parts get here, the mechanical group will assemble them, make sure they fit the way that we want them to. Then our acoustic team has they basically break it for us. So Jeff,
they do a good job.
They do
Jeff
an
and Laura?
excellent job. Jeff and Laura do an excellent job of finding what the limits are. Because our acoustic engineers can run their simulations. They'll spec out the voice coil, determine their spider geometry, and find the excursions that we want and all that. But once you get the parts, we got to make sure that it meets what we were hoping it would perform at. And some of the testing involves just throwing a ton of power and heat at these
Raw
things.
muscle at it.
Yep. But before we do that, we listen to it. We go to our listening room, play some music that we're familiar with, and make sure it sounds the way that we want it to sound. Because I know that there's a lot of subwoofers out there that are just for SPL. These are not just for SPL. X is not just for SPL. We want it to sound good, like you had mentioned before. But lots of listening, and then once we're done listening, Jeff takes over and just throws tons of power, lots of abuse at it, and then I know whenever he comes walking to my cube, I always like, oh no, kind of duck down. He's like, no, you can't hide from me. It's like, dang it, what'd you break this time?
Jeff is funny. If you guys ever get a chance to meet Jeff, we talk about no nonsense. I mean, to the point. I mean, he is as direct and as straight-faced as you can be. And, he actually set up some of the stuff we're going to do tonight. And, without people like that, I mean, we can make all the claims in the world and put it out in the field, and it's not going to do what we hoped it would do. And, this isn't just a short test. I mean, as you guys know, with the X woofer, I don't remember what the time was, and maybe you can tell me. We won't go into a lot of detail, but I heard that woofer was tested for over 100 hours.
The X was inadvertently.
Yeah, this is the stuff I want to know, because I hear all these stories around the company from everyone, and it's good to talk to someone on camera so we can say, like, we got it recorded.
Why do y'all do live shows? Like,
because it's fun, because you never know what's going to happen, and I always get in trouble.
See, I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to say. But yes, it was ran for 100+ hours and survived. And that was not our spec that we wanted to meet. That blew way past.
Yeah, that definitely is above and beyond.
But yeah, that was a rare occurrence. But yes, the X survived a very long time.
So one of the other things that's interesting when you start talking about testing, and I'm going to put this as a feather in Kicker's hat, is we spend a lot of money to break our own products.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why we're never going to be the cheapest company out there, because we put them through the ringer every possible way we can. Maybe one of these days, I don't think we've done a broadcast where we've actually shown it, but we've actually got 4 new testing labs we built in-house. I think we got an RF test, we got a thermal test, we got a salt fog test, we've got I forgot what all. We do so much that in-house, so we know what it's going to do before we send it out.
Yeah. Yeah, we also have third-party firms that do all that testing too, but we also want to be able to
get as close as we can before they get certified.
Yep.
So I know this is going to be strictly a guess and something just pulling out of your hat here, but just talking about just the X12 that we have up here.
Okay.
Just the X12.
Yeah.
How many woofers do you think were sacrificed? Not series, but how many actual woofers have we sacrificed, do you estimate, just to make that woofer?
Like, just that came through R&D to
just
be
the
sacrificed
12s. How many woofers? I mean, we're talking 100+? I mean,
I guarantee
easily?
we are over 100 woofers. Yeah, for sure. And these are, I mean, they're not cheap woofers. There's a lot there. And but again, we want to get it right. And we want everything we say it's going to do, we want it to do and more.
And the exciting thing is we don't just go out and decide, all right, we're going to buy this surround. We're going to have them put in this basket, this magnet. I mean, every bit of
Yep.
of the product. I mean, even the square terminals.
Yeah.
I mean, we go so far as design the push-button spring
Mm-hmm.
terminals. In fact, on the XS, we've talked about it before, 4-gauge
On
terminal blocks
on the
and
terminal
the
block.
push-button spring terminals at 8-gauge.
Yep.
I mean, we engineer every part of that. We have to make the tooling for all that, and we have to make sure it all fits and it all works. I don't know how you guys do it sometimes.
Well, sometimes we feel like it's a bit overwhelming, but by the end of the day, it's awesome.
It really is.
Just to be able to. Okay, people, I've worked on this a long time. I'm really glad it's finally
6
here, and I
years?
get to do this. I get to touch it. It's awesome.
You want to pick it up?
No, I do. I know I don't want to pick it up. It's way too heavy.
Yeah, I think we were 6 pounds on the 12?
Yeah, 95, 96 on the 12.
Yeah, that's a heavy woofer in anybody's. But it's not just about the weight, and that's the exciting thing. And I know it would be really fun, I think, and we joke about this, to get, Alan, which is our acoustic engineer.
Yeah. Alan was the acoustic engineer on the X. Yep.
Alan he's probably one of the smartest dumb guys you'll ever meet. Alan, if you're watching, I apologize, but he's so smart, he will give you an answer that you can't understand. We were talking
Alan-
about doing a show on magnets,
Yeah.
just on magnet materials, and I asked Alan real quickly, hey, I need a little bit more information. I know the basics on magnets, and I think he sent me 7 pages of information.
I believe it.
And I'm just like, okay, somehow I got to condense this down. I was like, I didn't have AI back then. So it's like, hey, AI, can you sum this up for me? But the knowledge that man has, and it's,
Oh, yeah.
I asked him a question this morning about a post that somebody else made on a product, and it was funny to see his reaction. He just almost laughed hysterically because they were getting so down in the minutia that they were bragging about this specific product and what it did, which is something that no one could ever hear, but it's sometimes you get these buzzwords and
Sure.
ideas out there that it doesn't make sense, but hey, people are going to market it. I think it's funny, and I'm not talking about other products and to bash on the way they advertise, but if you ever watch car commercials, they'll be bragging about their model of car, and they say, well, it does this better than that one. Well, it does this better than that one. Does this better than that one. But they never say that it does 2 things better than one. It's always that one little thing they can pick out. Well, our paint is 4 microns thicker than theirs, so we're a much better product. But people see through that. When the products get out on the market, they know what's going on. And I love watching the reviews on these speakers because you're always nervous before they come out. You spend a lot of energy on them, and it's
Yeah.
like, is it going to be well received by the public?
Yeah. And with the X, we knew we had a good product, and we knew that the users, y'all, would do way more than what we say that they're spec'd for.
I think Carlos with the 15, we were
Oh.
a 19,600 watt burst in that
Yeah.
thing on a 2,000 watt. That is literally 10 times the rated power.
As an engineer, I was definitely watching the live feed on that one. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, please hold together.
And-
It's like, holy crap, it worked. That's awesome.
And obviously, when we make a product, we're not going to give its ratings right at the absolute breaking point because we know you guys do some things to products we never expect or intend you to do. So you guys do a lot of testing for us, but that doesn't mean when we have a speaker like the X up here that once it's made out on the market, we're never going to change it or make it better. And that's definitely not the case because we were talking about some things earlier, and I don't know if we want to go into detail, but we see things that, people have done to our products which we never expected, and we do make what we call running changes.
Yep, all the time. Sure. Yeah,
So-
we're always looking to make our products better, whether it's a monster subwoofer or a coax speaker. We're always looking to do running changes, incremental changes, always making it better.
And I know it doesn't take, an absolute ton of failures for us to want to go back and make the product better. I mean, these are our projects. These are our children for the most part. Sometimes we spend more time with the products than we do our actual families. So we want to make sure that they are, my wife is going, yes, I know,
Yeah.
I agree, because you're always at work, and even when you're home, you're at work one way or another. But we want to make sure that the products are as good as they can be, and we talk about amplifiers. We do running changes on parts. Well, sometimes with speakers, we do running changes, and we may never tell you, but we we'll make the product better if we see a certain number of failures and we find a way to fix that without redesigning the entire product. And it's all about our dedication to you guys as the users. So very cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about, you know, some of the material differences in the two speakers. Obviously, we got the X up here, which, you know, it's kind of interesting, you know, when we put the X side by side with the original X woofer, this made the original look like a normal woofer. It didn't look like it should have been an X. Then you put this side by side with the XS, which you have in front of you. It makes this look like a normal woofer, and I didn't think that was going to be possible. But there's a lot of changes. This is not just a, you know, scaled up version of this speaker whatsoever. So tell us a little bit about some of the differences between these two and some of the things we changed and different materials and why we needed to do some of these changes.
Okay, I will do my best.
Which is far better than I could do. That's why you're here. You're here to make us all look good.
Well, the one thing that they share, they both have a 3-inch diameter voice coil. On the XS 12 and 15, the 18 has the 4-inch voice coil.
It's about the size of my fist.
Yeah, it's huge for sure. But the voice coil on the XS is longer than the X.
It looks like almost 50% longer. It's quite a bit longer.
Yeah, I want to say...
Because we're what? Like peek around here. There's the height of the voice coil on the X.
Yeah. And we're, gosh, see, I should have wrote all these details down because I don't have perfect recall.
Well, you got a lot of things to remember. But
this is about almost a 90 millimeter voice coil length, and this has a lot of excursion. The X has over 30 millimeters of excursion. We bumped this one up to 44 one-way.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that 30 millimeters is one way.
One way.
So 60 and 25.4 millimeters in an inch. So, you know, 3+ inches travel versus 4+.
Yep, exactly.
4+ inches of cone travel.
Yes. We have a 20 millimeter tall top plate on this, larger.
About 3/4 of an inch. And this one is, I can't remember, it's a little bit smaller.
Yeah, that one's about I want to say it's a 12.
So just about half of an inch, just shy of half of an inch.
Much larger magnets. This one has a hyper-extended pole piece, which so does the X, but this one has specific shaping for the magnetic flux to be focused in the gap. All this is all designed by our acoustic engineer who was over this project, Bob. He would be another fun one day to have on the show. But we have 3 acoustic engineers, and they're all really awesome. But
they are. They're unbelievably smart, and like I say,
I just wonder what they would do on live. If you think I'm fumbling it up, I think it would be hilarious to get those smart guys on here.
Yeah, we definitely have to have closed captioning on those guys.
Yeah.
And it would have to be in English, not engineering. But these guys are so smart when it comes to this. This is all they do. And some of the companies that Alan has worked for and some of the projects and patents that he's had, you know, Bob as well.
Yeah, Bob the same way.
These guys just are absolutely brilliant. And they never get the credit they deserve. I mean, this is the credit that all you guys deserve. And, you know, it can't be done without all of you guys. So we're not just like I say, we're not just picking parts out of a bin and putting them together, which you see a lot of companies doing, and we are designing even down to the materials.
Yeah, all these pieces are spec'd and tooled up by our design. The spiders are a Connex blend.
And the advantage of that is?
It's a fire retardant material. It can handle intense heat. And it's really good at holding its shaping.
That's important in a spider.
So yeah, exactly.
Not so much the ones that crawl around our house the wife steps on. She doesn't want them to hold their shapes.
Different spiders, yeah, exactly. Another thing, these have really large, I don't know if you can see, but really big tensile leads. These are 100 strand per tensile lead.
It's almost like the equivalent of the 8 gauge, isn't it?
It's very large, and we have dual runs for each terminal. And
What is one of the advantages of the dual spider?
dual spider will help the voice coil keep its axial stiffness. So this cylinder will remain concentric with the pole.
So it won't walk sideways and start
Exactly.
rubbing on
You
the
don't
top
want
plate.
it to go wonky.
Yeah, that's when you start shredding voice coils.
Yep,
and-
that's voice coil rub. That's because it has lost that.
Well, something else interesting about the XS, which is different than the X, is the X, whatever impedance you buy, you have to buy the matching replacement assembly in that
Yep.
impedance. On the XS, the guys took special care and they really specifically tooled it and modified the way the voice coil and the top plate work so they are interchangeable on this one without any loss in performance.
That's right. You can go from a dual 2 to a dual 1, or vice versa. Yep, without issue.
And something interesting, this might be more the acoustic guys, but we're using aluminum voice coils in these drivers.
Yes.
Do you know the advantage of using the aluminum versus a copper wound coil?
Weight.
That's what I
Yep.
figured.
Yep, and it can actually handle a lot of current, and it's a weight savings as well.
And of course, one of the advantages of, with the forced air cooling to get that, heat out of the back of it very
Yep.
effectively. And, with the power handling these guys, it definitely does a good job of that.
Yep.
So cone materials.
Cone materials is a paper pulp with fiberglass reinforcement. It's got the fibers mixed into the pulp.
The slurry.
The slurry. I don't know if y'all have ever watched a paper cone being made, but it's actually kind of gross looking.
So how do they do that? Obviously, you've been to the factory.
Yeah.
Kyle just got back from the factory
Yeah.
that's making these, so he saw firsthand,
Yeah.
how all the components were made.
I
and
mean,
put
it's
together.
this gross-looking snot-looking stuff being just swirled around on this cone form, and it sucks it all through and it just builds up to the thickness that you want, and let it dry. And there you go.
What, 4 millimeter thick on the cone?
It's 4.
4 millimeter. Nice thick non-pressed pulp cone. I
Yep.
think. And the dust cap.
Carbon fiber dust cap.
And why did we go carbon fiber? Because it looks cool only, right?
It does look.
It does
cool,
look cool.
But yeah, weight reduction. Another advantage is it can handle high temperatures.
I think it's funny, Brian just made a post there. What cone? The thing is all dust cap. Well, the
Right.
smaller drivers, yeah, it really is.
Yep.
Kind of back to the original, not the original, but when we did the Solo D series, the round ones.
yeah.
The dust cap literally went from edge of surround to edge of surround. But there
Yep.
was a cone underneath it too.
Right.
Just all that extra rigidity makes a huge difference.
Yep.
Something else that's kind of cool is even the stitching on the XS is different.
That's right.
There's twice as much of it.
Yep, we have dual stitching on the surround to cone. Just more security to keep the surround where it's supposed to be.
And it looks cool.
It looks cool.
And obviously we've got taller surround, but it looks like the surrounds are different colors.
The surrounds are different. We have a Santoprene surround on the X, and we have a NBR surround. It's NBR plus some other goodies.
And we designed that material.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, this is our own blend to
we-
make sure it did exactly what our engineers asked it to do.
Yeah, we work with our factories to get this done for us, and it performs very well. I'm super happy with how this surround turned out.
And I probably shouldn't say this or give it away, but I always like, poking the bear a little bit. But I think I heard some talk about actually the trickle-down theory that surround may possibly end up in the X eventually.
You hear things.
Yeah, I know. I hear a lot of things, and it's always fun to, find out.
Yeah, Yeah, we love doing the trickle down thing. Whenever we find something that works, we love to spread it out to other applications. So who knows what will happen?
It's all about the benefits to our consumers and what they do
Absolutely.
to it.
Yeah.
And that surround, there's another unique property to the surround without getting into details. I mean, most people,
Yeah.
we can prototype surrounds here. We'll actually make them on our CNC. We've got the
Yep.
Santoprene that will vac form over that, but that doesn't give you the result that we have here. There was something else we did very special on the surround for this driver.
Yeah, we have variable thickness surround on this application here, and it has worked out really well for us.
Yeah, it definitely
And
seems
that's
to.
all I'm going to say, John.
And that's all I'm going to probe
I've already
you for.
talked to you about this.
Yes, I know, but it is kind of cool the fact that there's a lot of technology and engineering that goes into something simple like a surround. Most people think
Yeah.
it's just the thing on the front side of the speaker to make it seal, but no, it actually has effect on the performance, the acoustics,
Oh,
the
yeah.
sound quality. I mean, it's very important to the speaker, and
Yeah.
I was taught by a car builder one time that you treat every part of a project like the most important, and you'll never be dissatisfied with the end result, and that's really what this product has become. So I think I saw someone made a post up here also about box sizes for these versus the X, which is really kind of interesting.
Yeah, they are designed to use similar box volumes, and that's thanks to our acoustic team, plus our applications group, Aaron and Jeremy.
Those two guys are awesome. Aaron's been on the show. I don't think we've ever got Jeremy on here.
Yeah, Jeremy's been
Has he
on
been
the
on
show.
here?
I'm pretty sure.
He hasn't been on here with me. Everybody else is nodding their head
There
yes.
you go.
Apparently, I missed that one. Probably
Yep.
the only show I've ever missed.
Well, you missed out.
I say that sarcastically. I don't always get a chance to watch. If I'm not doing the show a lot of times, I
Yeah.
got so many other things going on. But
Well, yeah, these will work in similar box volumes, and our unloaded enclosures that we came out with for the X, they will work with the XS.
and that was planned up front.
Yep.
If you go by the actual, absolutely perfect, most accurate dimensions, they are slightly different, but we build enough fudge room in the enclosure. that-
Yeah, I do want to talk about that. That is one thing that these don't have the same baskets. These are totally different baskets, the X versus the XS. And so,
In fact, one of the differences that, in case we forget to mention, there's even little lugs on the basket to tie the wires to, which is kind of a neat idea.
oh yeah,
I mean, we try to think of all these little details to make the product as good as we can.
that's right.
That
Yeah, a little wire management.
Because those will handle 4-gauge wire to those terminals, and you don't want 4-gauge wire, bouncing around and ripping out of the terminal. So yeah, there's actually big old loops there that you can basically tie the wires to it. But different baskets.
Different baskets, slightly different cutouts, but I bet in most cases you're only a saw blade width difference or less. So
With the CNC, it may make a little bit of difference, but not enough that a little bit of sandpaper,
Right.
is going to
sandpaper should fix everything.
make all the difference in the world. You definitely don't want to cut the holes too big because
Yep.
you need as plenty support on that top baffle as possible.
And these have different bolt patterns. The XS has a slightly different bolt pattern than the X for the mounting. And we did that in case you were swapping from an X to an XS. We wanted you to have fresh material to screw into.
And that's one of the things, I don't know if Bobby Gately's watching tonight. Bobby is absolutely adamant against threaded inserts on his enclosures.
Yeah.
And we kind of did the same thing. In fact, in our preloaded enclosures, we don't expect you ever have to pull the woofer in and out. So it's not that big of an issue. But with our unloaded 12-inch enclosures, the single and the dual, those are the only ones that we do that don't have the threaded inserts. And that's because you want that fresh material. In fact, we even went so far, I shouldn't say we, you guys went so far as where the screw holes are in that top gasket. I mean, there was a lot of thought given to that. Because I know some of the other products, should I say competitors' products? I won't say who, that we've tested. They don't have a lot of area between the cutout and the screw holes. We've actually had some fall out of the enclosures. So I know we spent a lot of time to push those screw holes out as far away from the opening as possible.
Yeah, we'd like as much material to be able to hold this monster in, so, yep.
Yeah, I don't know how people are going to mount these on a vertical baffle.
Well, yep, strong
I'm
backs.
sure it'll do it. And, you know, if you're going to do something like that, take a little bit more planning and consideration to something to support the magnet for 2 reasons. One, over time, it's going to be a lot easier on the enclosure. And 2, to be able to have that slide up on, you know, a reinforcement bar so you don't have all that weight trying to kick the bottom out. It's
yeah.
going to make mounting that speaker a lot easier.
Yep.
In fact, the one car that I did also with Solo X12 sealed, it was our rep Dana Doyle, his Chrysler 300. I actually designed the enclosure that the magnet actually sat on the bottom of the enclosure just for added support, and it doesn't have all that torque trying to tear those screws out of the bottom of the enclosure. So when you have a product like this, I mean, anything that weighs this much, I mean, weight's a big consideration, not only in the weight of the moving mass like the cone and that material, but just the weight of the driver itself. So.
And another thing, with so much weight on this motor, we've bolted the motor together. It has 3 bolts running through from the top plate through the magnet down to the back plate to help hold everything together also.
So, in fact, talking earlier with Chance, we were talking about how do you do that? So we actually have to design the mold for the magnets to have holes in it as well. So because you really can't drill a hole through a magnet,
No.
you're just going to shatter. So you have to do that in the molding process. So there's all those things that you have to take in consideration. And what is the advantage of bolting that whole structure together? What does that eliminate besides, hey, when we say, hey, it's bolted together, it's
Well,
and it's glued at the same time, right?
yeah, we still glue it together, but the bolts is just another safety precaution, just another sense of assurance that thing is going to stay where we want it to be.
And what happens if it shifts?
If it shifts, you're going to have voice coil rub.
Okay.
It will probably lock up the sub.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good thing, and that's
No.
really mostly a problem for people that drop them or.
Yeah, they're whenever you drop them or
They're not-
shock them,
Yeah, they're not designed to bounce off concrete. And that's one of the things the magnet boot actually helps do is cushion that should it happen to bump into something.
Sure, yeah.
But more importantly, it makes them look really cool.
Yeah.
And here's a question. That's funny. I think a question says we're sitting here to put you on the spot. I know on the X, the magnet boot can be flipped over depending on how you orient the woofer. Is that the same on the XS?
Absolutely. You
I
sure
figured
can.
it probably was.
Yep.
The subtle little details.
Yeah.
But I know in testing, we start talking about Jeff and his thermal testing. It's kind of funny. I was talking with Jeff about, he was talking about how hot they get when we test them. He would literally shut them off from the testing rig and then not touch them for at least a day to let them cool down.
Yep.
And he was telling me that I think it was the 18th, that it got so hot that it actually basically discolored and disformed the boot itself. But the speaker took every bit of it. So that tells you how much heat is going on in these things.
Yeah, they can handle a lot of power. Okay. Were you here whenever the entire building got evacuated?
No, okay, now here's some good, that's why we bring people on the show. This is what I got to hear. Go on.
Sorry, Jeff, but
What did he do?
He was testing.
Is that why they pushed him to the building on the far side of the parking lot?
Yeah, he
They pushed him right out of the building?
He had to go to a different building because the alarms went off. The fire alarms went off. The entire 200 people was evacuated, and
Hopefully it wasn't raining or cold out.
no, it was a beautiful day. It was a lovely day to be outside.
So it might have been an excuse.
But it was hilarious whenever I found out.
So
What
what
happened?
exactly did he do to cause this? Now I'm curious.
Oh, it was just another one of our tests. Just a standard life
A
test.
gigawatt of power?
Yeah. But it was really funny. Sorry, Jeff, again.
Now we're probably going to have to start talking about vent hoods and the speaker testing. But
Yeah, that has
well, you guys have
been-
seen speakers that fail in videos. I mean, that's a fair amount of smoke.
Sure, yeah.
And it does not smell good either.
No, absolutely not.
The fire alarm doesn't know the difference between good smoke and bad smoke. Smoke is smoke, so.
Yeah. Well, now he's in a separate building And yeah, Benny, our safety officer, doesn't have to worry about him as much now.
As much. Now he still has concentrated what I'm tearing up and doing out there.
Of course, yeah.
So I'm excited for these speakers. Here again, they're going to be offered in a 12, 15, and 18. I know I've already seen some people asking for 8s, and what are you going to say to that?
Who knows?
That's all we can say at the moment. I don't think we have a whole lot of need for it, but you know, with enough interest, we do listen. I mean, you look at, I don't think we originally planned on doing 18s, did we, on the X? And we had enough call for it, but we decided to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, there's, y'all ask for some crazy stuff sometimes, and we try to make everybody happy, but yeah, the 18 on the X actually was in the playbook, but it just took longer than we were hoping, or you know, whatever. I mean, we know we wanted for the X, we wanted the 12, 15 out first, then the 10, then the 18, but now we are very happy and proud that the 12, 15, 18 were debuted all at the same time on the XS.
And they may not be shipping at exactly the same time early next year.
But it'll be close.
And the cool thing is, you know, the 12 and the 15 use pretty much the same motor structure. Obviously, the cones, basket, and surrounds are all different. But the 18 is its entirely unique animal.
Yep. All the same technology, but a 4-inch voice coil, still the same winding height. So similar excursions.
But much bigger magnet overall.
Much bigger magnet overall.
You have to have a bigger magnet. Put a bigger voice coil in, pushes everything to the outside.
Absolutely.
So it's going to keep going bigger.
So bigger spider, and it weighs 130 plus pounds.
130.6, I think, is the number Jeff gave me.
Yeah, yeah. So.
And it's not about the weight, guys. I mean, that's what it took to do it properly.
Yep.
I mean, if we were like some of the other non-reputable companies, and you know, there's no names to be given, but they just put bigger and bigger magnets on them and, you know, basically claim they're a better speaker. But it is possible to put too big of a magnet on a speaker.
Yeah, over-damping it is one of the...
And you actually lose output by putting too big of a magnet because you unbalance the system. I mean, it's amazing to think about the technology in speakers like this, and you know, like a highly tuned engine. Everything is designed to work with every specific part. You change something, you're going to have to change a lot of the other parameters and aspects around it to get the proper performance. But a lot of these companies, they don't care. They just, you know, we'll just put taller surround on it. We'll put a bigger magnet on it, and we'll slap a bigger power handling number on it and hope it does it. But, you know, that's not the way we operate.
Yeah, we definitely like to do, like for it to do what we say it's going to do, for sure.
Well, I will tell you, a couple months ago, like 2 months ago before SEMA, we did a listening test between the X and the XS. And I was actually pleasantly surprised how much of a difference there really was in the output between the two. I mean, obviously the thing looks bigger, but I mean, it's bigger in output, everything. It's pretty darn impressive.
The X sounds great, and then, you know, it reaches to a point, you're putting tons of power on it, but
and that's all it can do.
You just find its limit, right? And the XS just keeps going.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And sounds really good doing it.
Yeah, like I say, I know I keep venting on this, but people that claim a speaker like this can't possibly sound good just because it's a, you know, high SPL woofer and it's got such a heavy cone. Yeah, it does have a heavy cone. It's got a low resonance, and you know, to overcome that, that's what the motor structure does. It just, you know, the bigger magnet will compensate for the weight of the cone, but it's all got to be balanced and work together. JW, got any good questions out there? I've been trying to watch a little bit, but haven't been able to see all of them. I think you got some highlighted there, and hopefully these are all for Kyle so he can answer them. And
oh boy.
I can stop talking for a little bit. So I caught JW off guard. I'm sure he was ready with all these. All right. Bill Weinemoyer says, replacement cone on the XS same or similar to the Solo X? Very good question, and the answer is a very big what, Kyle?
So yeah, it's very, very similar. Different, totally different architecture, but the process is almost identical.
With one exception, the number of screws.
Yep, that's right. We have more bolts holding the moving assembly together on the XS.
So how many? So
I
it'd
don't
be
know.
8 on the front and 8 on the back on the X.
And
we've
then-
got 16 on the front and 12 on the back. Or is
It's
it?
something like that, yeah.
That's higher than I
Yeah,
can
it's
count
a lot.
without taking my shoes off. So I know that it's
Yeah,
more than 10.
yeah, 16 and 12.
So yeah, same process. No glue required on these, but definitely got more
Yep.
more screws. Up to my microphone die. It's probably. It's dropped. Oh, it dropped. See, this is
Dang
what
it,
happens
John.
on live TV. All right, next question as I try to find my hidden microphone. There it is. I found it.
Okay.
Take the
Is
camera
there-
off me while I dress.
Is there anything you can tell us about how you engineered the motor to not shift by chance?
I think we just did.
Yeah, that's the bolts in there is going to hold that together.
If you do something bad enough to shear the bolts off and get it to shift, you're probably not going to be around to notice the difference anyway.
Well, yep.
Both of them in the prefab enclosure?
Yes. Stephen was just asking if we've listened to both of them in the prefab enclosure, and yes, absolutely. I mean, they both sound fantastic, but the XS very, very, very noticeably has a lot more output, but they sound equally as good. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously there's a little difference in sound, which you wouldn't notice if you weren't listening to A/B like side by side,
sure.
but unless you're talking about performance and output, and there's definitely a very notable difference in output. I mean, it is actually startling, and I think I probably twitched a little bit when we switched from the XS well, actually from the X and then turn on the XS. It's like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that much of a difference in output. So another question we've got up here, do we have the TS parameters yet? And we talked about this, and we don't, and Kyle's going to tell you why, because it's actually kind of important.
Well, yeah, we'll wait to release those. We have our application specialist that will release those whenever it's time.
Jeremy Brown.
Jeremy Brown. We got, yeah. I mean, really, it's just we're gonna wait for our production to get here. We're gonna make sure everything is up to spec that we want, and then get our averages, and then we'll let everybody know.
And that is the key. We don't want to, put out the TS parameters on the prototypes, because
Yeah.
they're not the mass-produced pieces. We want to make sure when we give you the TS parameters, they're as close. And we don't just do one. One driver measure it. Here you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an averaging of anywhere from 5 to 10 on average of the production run. And unfortunately, on my end of things today, I was actually having troubles finding, a 12, 15, and an 18 that were all together intact that we could even put up here for show, because your guys tend to destroy every speaker we get, so it's hard to find ones that are, visibly correct and then acoustically correct and then haven't been tortured and ruined, because we do. We
John,
put everything
you
to the
come
limits.
into R&D and you steal our stuff.
Yes, I do.
So you think we're just going to leave stuff laying around for you to find?
Well, I even know where to look, and like I say, and I had to ask, is this close to what? But yeah, we just want to make sure that when we put out the parameters, that the numbers are as close to reality as we can possibly be, and obviously there are subtle variances. I mean, no two are exactly like,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
I love the people that's like, every woofer is exactly the same. Well, if that was the case, if you had a dual woofer enclosure, if one speaker blew, the other one's going to automatically blow when wired in series or parallel, and that's just not the case. I mean, most of the time we get enclosures back, that someone's abused, and one of the two woofers is bad, one of them is not. So they are as close to being made exact the same as possible, but it is not possible to make them absolutely exactly the same. So you will get that information probably, hopefully early in 2026 when we get our production run, and Jeremy Brown gets in there and does his measurements, and same thing with Jeff and Laura taking their acoustic and mechanical measurements. But just be assured that boxes that work for the X, they're going to work for the XS.
Yeah.
Just going to handle more power and have more output. Kind of the name of the game. Next question, JW. Joke Change says, will the L7XS steal the properly? With the
Seal properly.
Seal properly. Sorry, I still have troubles reading that.
With the magnet inverted, yeah. Yeah, I believe they will. I would recommend running some gasket material over the front, and they will probably seal better than the X.
All right, well, let's talk about that real quick. Another interesting thing. You said with a gasket material, what do you recommend?
Oh, any closed cell foam.
Foam. I mean, that's
yeah.
that's the point.
Yep. Weather stripping material from any hardware store will.
And sometimes people use plumber's putty, and we actually use that for tuning the speakers. For mass loading the cone, we'll take balls of that and put it on the cone for weight to change the tuning. But the thing is, don't use silicone, guys.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
That was the big thing. I remember when I started, we really, really preached against people siliconing the speaker into the enclosure for a couple reasons. First of all, if you just want to take the speaker out and build a new box for it, there's only a couple ways to get it out if you silicone it. You can cut it out, you can pry it out, you can saw it out, but you're going to probably damage the speaker in one way or another. And especially the enclosure. So it's probably not going to be able to use the enclosure. So use something that is not a permanent bond.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, silicone will do a good job of sealing it, but you better not plan on ever taking that driver out of the enclosure.
Yep, right.
And it's never going to look new again either. So, next question. Overkill Customs, Andy says, Kicker, why are the spiders close together on the XS?
So, the reasoning we wanted, okay, there's some, I'm going to wait till Jeremy and I have a conversation about Jeremy Brown about some of these details, but we were able to do closer spiders on this one just because we learned a lot from the old one. We were able to determine that our outer diameter of our spiders had enough clearance between one another to reach max excursion up and down.
Without them rattling together.
To never make contact. So in order to have our entire moving structure a little bit shorter, we tighten that gap up a little bit.
And that's one of the things that does happen. The farther you space that apart, the closer it either comes to the bottom of the cone or the top of the basket. So you can have some rubbing issues there. And, I've seen it happen where, things, get a little more excursion than necessarily tested for, and some issues can arise. But, we're not opposed to making adjustments as we go. But I know we've talked about that before. But, yeah, you get exactly the same performance without anything negative happening with the XS by having them fairly close together. In fact, it helps that extra cone travel quite a bit. It's a great question. You guys are paying attention out there. All right. That's cool. Number 9 says, can we talk about the mounting holes? Why not accommodate for lag bolts instead of a bunch of smaller screws? Great question. That one I can't answer because...
I don't know.
There you go.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
I think if we make the holes bigger, it might tend to make that mounting lip a little less rigid.
Another thing, whenever we were first designing this, Jeremy Brown was...
you see this? You guys can't see this. But
my son is here, and he's helping in the background, or not helping at all.
Yeah, come out here. Come out here. No, show them what you're doing to us in the background.
Yep.
They say it's life, so we got to have fun. But this is what we have to put up with behind the background. So, yeah.
Proud dad. Thank you, son. Now get out of here.
Which is gonna make a lot more sense, I think, with one of my comments coming up here in the near future. But we'll get there in a second.
Okay, we wanted to keep the outer frame a certain dimension because certain SPO classes were wanting their no wall. There were classes, I can't remember if it was in IASCA or what it was, but there was certain dimensions that we didn't want to exceed the frame.
So the frame
width.
width makes a difference.
Yeah.
So
So
these are actually pretty good size holes. I mean, that's quarter inch.
yeah, they're bigger than the X.
Yeah, because this is, look,
But
yeah, it is quite a bit different. So,
anyway, maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised whenever you see these. And
don't take a 1/2-inch drill bit and drill them out.
no need to drill them out. No need
So
to
you
drill
should be able to get plenty of big bolts. So they say quarter-inch bolt through these things will make a big difference. All right, next question. How would the XS work in an infinite baffle, an IB, or free air application?
Well, I am not an application specialist, but I think they would work pretty awesome.
I know, it's as I keep mentioning, we got Brian up here making comments. Brian Gary's little 2019 Mustang
Oh, yeah.
convertible
I've heard that.
GT. I
Yep.
mean, you got to hear it in the parking lot.
Yep.
He's got the Solo X8s, 4 of those off of Warhorse, and he
Yeah.
competes sound quality. I mean, like I say, I've done them sealed. He's done them infinite baffle. In fact, he's got me thinking about rebuilding my entire car and doing 3 of the 10s infinite baffle on the Mustang and putting a pair of 3000s on them. So I just really like that sound. I mean, you talk about deep, smooth, clean bass. But any speaker will work in any configuration, any application. The question is how well, and sometimes you don't know until you try it. It may not be designed for it, but I imagine with, a good DSP, proper, subsonic filters or infrasonic filter, you can get some pretty amazing performance out of these without damage to the drivers. So great question. So stay tuned, we'll let you know. And he also asked, Kicker, what is the sensitivity differences in the subs? Now that's going back to the TS parameters.
Yep.
Don't even know yet. I do know that one does play louder overall.
Yep. But it takes a lot of power.
Yeah, it's a lot of speaker.
It's a lot. There's a lot there.
All right. I think we're getting up on 8:30, so we're probably going to cut the questions short. Maybe this one and
Ooh,
one
a
more.
mechanical engineering student.
Nice.
What
a great question.
What do y'all look for in someone interested in joining your engineering team?
Somebody that loves audio, number one.
Absolutely. That is a definite plus.
Because if you come to this company and you don't love audio, you're not going to be as happy as you should be.
Yeah, that is one thing that is...
But I think we are always looking for good engineers. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew for a long time you
So
were asking me if I knew any mechanical engineers.
So a 4-year degree in mechanical engineering technology, or something along those lines is what we are looking for a ME1. Yep.
So we've got mechanical engineers, acoustic engineers, electrical engineers, structural, I mean, just about every type of engineering other than...
Yep, plus some technicians who have to take all this stuff that we do and then try to break it, and
Yep.
yeah.
Like Jeff and Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great company to work for. If any of you guys are out there watching and ever wondered, always get online. We always, if we got something posted, please apply. We're always looking for great people, and
Yeah.
we're always looking to get some newer, younger blood in here, because
Absolutely.
that's definitely not me. I wish it was, but
It's
it's
not you, John.
So there is the reminder of the shopping spree up there, guys. Don't forget to register for that $2,500 Christmas giveaway. I think that's on the 23rd show. I think that's the date. El Fuego, thanks for tuning in today. What does a Kicker speaker design person run in his ride? Oh, very interesting question. Which we can talk about it now because it's actually been revealed.
Yeah. So
Now, is this your truck or is this a Noah's truck?
right now,
it's soon to be Noah's truck.
It's my truck. Soon, if Noah can,
Keep his grades up.
keep
and
his grades up.
Nose out of trouble.
Yeah, but got a 02 Ford Ranger, little mini truck. Right now, we're running 2 HS12s, the new HS12s, in the behind the seats, and they are pretty awesome.
Yeah, we showed that speaker 2 weeks ago. That is if you guys didn't see the show and haven't heard anything about it, that is an under-seat 12-inch cast aluminum. I mean, the thing is this tall. Yeah. And we talk about, you ask for anything you want, some things you just won't get. And we'd been asked for, we had the 8-inch, which was the #1 selling product we had, period. We sold more of the 8-inch HS8s than any other single product. And then it just wasn't enough. You guys kept asking, so we came out with the 10, which, once again, one of the fantastic selling product, but guys kept asking for more, so we made a 12. Well, I'm going to draw the line right there. Don't ask for an under the seat 15.
Yeah, I mean, we can do it, but
Maybe under your couch. Maybe it could be a home product. Do
might
like
be
a
onto something,
3-inch high, you know, slide it under the couch,
Yeah.
15-inch subwoofer. But physics get to the point where it just isn't practical. We could do it,
Yep.
but it's not going to fit in a lot of things. And
well, I've kind of got a love for those compact little enclosures.
tell them what you did in your other truck.
So the other truck, a little square body S10, which
Ford, Chevy, which is it, Kyle?
it's a Chevrolet.
No, which are
S10.
you? Are you a
Oh, I'm a Ford fan, but I have owned Chevys throughout.
I agree. If you're a
But-
car guy, you're a car guy. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter what
yeah.
brand it is.
Yeah, so
Another argument.
but we put 5 HS8s behind the seat of that regular cab S10. Was able to still have that bench seat all the way back, plenty of leg room, and
And I heard that thing all the way across the parking lot.
it would slam.
It was,
It was
I could not
awesome.
believe that was because, you know, one by itself does a pretty good job.
Yeah,
2 is even better. 5 of those in that little cab of that truck.
5 was awesome.
It was astounding.
So that truck is still in town. I sold it to my buddy, and he's taken it. It still has the HS8s, but he has done some more EQ stuff to the front stage, and it sounds really good.
I bet it does.
And he has already started trying to figure out like how he's going to fit HS12s back there. So
They're not a lot bigger, which is surprising.
I'm afraid he's going to have to drop down to maybe 4 HS12s instead of
No,
the
I already got
5
it figured out. He
HS8s.
just has to stagger them. I bet that would work. I
Maybe
bet
so.
that still be enough for.
Maybe
Bill's
so.
asking the time frame on the HS12. I believe it's first quarter. Like I said, they're
Yep.
really impressive. They use the same harness as the HS8 and HS10. So if you got an
That's
8 or a
right.
10, plug in the 12 and go. You
right.
might have to increase the fuse.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because it's going to pull a little bit more power.
Yeah.
Takes power to make power. So cool. We're going to stop the question. If you guys do have more questions, support@kicker.com. Don't forget about that. You can always send us an email. And we've got 4 guys upstairs over here that do a great job of getting back to you, usually within 24 hours. I mean, a lot of times, you know, they've got those things answered from, you know, overnight. They get them answered by noon before they go to lunch. But it just depends on how many they get. But they do a really good job of that. But yeah, I really appreciate you taking some time with us. I mean, we could keep going for a long time, but I know we're already getting kind of long in the tooth, and I know people want to, you know, win some stuff too. So that.
Yeah, John.
So what?
What about this thing?
We don't want to. You guys don't want to hear it, do you? You don't want to see what it doesn't move. We can't power this thing up, or can we?
We better.
So, in reference to Noah and his little mask that he had on a little bit ago, I was going to comment that it was so nice that Kyle brings this support animal along with him for support, and he puts that mask on, that was absolutely classic. You walked right into that one, Noah. So we've got Noah on the sideline over here. There you see him with the SIG-Gen. He's going to be running that, and we've got a QSC amplifier on the floor there, which is, I mean, capable of over 5,000 watts of power into both channels. We're only going to run one channel on it because we are running this thing infinite baffle. And if we actually run both channels bridge, we will trip the breaker in the building, and we don't want to do that. So you guys probably want to see this thing flex. I was going to hold out till the very end, till after we did the other stuff, but we might as well show you now since Ernie's been begging and desired. I'm going to turn this thing. What do you think? Is that a good... There.
Too far.
All right. So we're going to play this thing. I think we got the SIG-Gen set that looks like 22 hertz from here.
Yep.
We don't have a cable clamp on this thing to tell you exactly how much power it is, but you're going to hear some noises. That's the table and everything else up here rattling. We did this earlier, but we're going to run approximately 2,000 watts to this woofer, but not full power, but we're going to crank it up a little bit. So if you guys want to get your recorders ready to watch this thing, we're going to show you a little bit of flex on this wonderful XS12. So I'm going to hold on to it so it doesn't move. You might want to hold on to that speaker over there too, because it tends to move. I got to get my fingers out of the way. So go ahead and start cranking up there, sport animal. what I can see here with that power, we're looking at in excess of 3 inches of cone travel. Yeah, as we move this thing, it's
Do it. There you go.
a little hard to see by the shutter speed. We can do this all day long. Man, that thing's moving. You got a little bit more in it? Yeah.
There's more.
It's about 4 inches of travel right there, and we're not even maxed out. That's only about 2/3 of the power. Wow. So yes, it really does work. It really is loud. It really does shake everything in the room. So cool. All right, Kyle, you're going to hang out with me for a few more minutes while we do a couple other little things
You
before
bet.
we give stuff away? Because I think you're going to be giving some of the prizes away.
I am?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
All right. So questions. We get, I like to answer questions from the viewers, and it's really interesting that sometimes they come in groups, and maybe sometimes it's just we choose them that way, but 3 questions actually kind of all work around wire one way or another. So first question. I heard from a buddy that you can use a smaller ground wire on an amplifier than the battery wire because it's shorter. Is this true? Now, you're the acoustic guy, but electrically, what do you think on that? Can you use a smaller ground wire than a power wire?
Can you use a smaller ground wire if it's a short run? Is the question, right?
Yep. No. Definitely not.
I've heard you best to go bigger on the ground wire.
Yeah, people, if you follow electronics, there's conventional flow and there's electron flow. Conventional flow is positive and negative, but electron flow is negative to positive. The power actually comes in the ground wire, but it still got to go somewhere. It's got to come out. So you definitely want to have those 2 wires the same diameter. And yes, if it was just 2 runs of wire, power and ground, you could get by with smaller gauge wire on a shorter run. But since you're getting the same current through both of them, you definitely want to run the same size ground wire. In fact, you can never go too big on power wire to an amplifier. You can definitely go too small, but that is not true. You have to run the same. I actually do remember we had a guy that sent in an amplifier, was very mad because it had failed for the 3rd time. And the 3rd time it came back in with the block, the power block melted from the amplifier. And when I called him up, said, why did this thing come back to us 3 times? He said, well, it's hooked up correctly. And I asked him, he said he was running a 4-gauge power wire, but he was running a 10-gauge ground wire because it was only 6 inches long. Yeah. And that was the problem. That wire was getting so hot, it actually got hot enough to melt the solder out of the amplifier. So I can tell you very much from firsthand experience, do not mix and match, power wire. Our power kits have the recommended power on the power kits, like the 4-gauge is 1,500 watts. And then, of course, the 1-aught wire, I think it's 3,000 watts on 1-aught. But definitely make sure you get the right gauge power wire and make sure they're both the same. Next question was, do I need a 10-gauge speaker wire to run to my subwoofers, and what is the best gauge wire for subwoofer and coaxials? Kyle, this is kind of in your bailiwick here.
What's your power that you run into these bad boys?
And that's the key. That's something we did not run. See, you don't have to run 10-gauge power.
10 gauge is big.
Yeah.
10 gauge is big.
It also depends on how far you're running the wire.
Yeah, sure.
So there really is not a good answer. You can't run too big a wire. And that's the other thing I've heard, from people in the past say, oh, if you run really big, like 10-gauge wire to your coax speakers, that there's so much capacitance in the wire that it's going to decrease your high frequencies. And it would take an unbelievable amount of wire for that to happen. So could you measure it? Yes. Could you hear it? Never. Especially in a car. But I usually recommend, on average, for a subwoofer, running 3 to 1,000 watts or so. You probably don't want to run anything smaller than a 14-gauge wire. I mean, 16 if it's a short run. But we offer 12-gauge speaker wire, which is great for most speakers. But what gauge power wire or speaker wire can you run to the XS?
Well, you can run dual 4-gauge.
4-gauge, yeah. Dual 4-gauge to each terminal on these speakers, We're talking, 4,000 watt speaker, especially on the 18 versus your average, 500, 700 watt standard speaker. But when it comes to coax speakers, 16 to 18 gauge for the length you run in a car is more than adequate. I mean, you can run 14 or 12 gauge, but 16 to 18. Our speaker wire that we sell in our kits is 16 gauge, but most of your cars out there are running 18 gauge factory. Some of them actually got a little bit cheaper, smaller. Some of the cars actually are going to aluminum speaker wire.
Wow.
Which is really crazy. I mean, it's obviously lighter, but it doesn't conduct as much electricity. So, third and final question. If I increase the thickness of the remote wire, will I get more power from the amplifier and will it sound better? I know I'm picking you on this one, picking on you, but this is kind of funny because I've actually had this debate with people in this argument that think, hey, if I rather run in an 18 gauge remote wire, what if I run a 10 gauge?
The remote wire. Oh, the remote turn on for the amplifier.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, man. Yeah, run that 8 gauge to your remote.
So on
to really
typical,
get that thing to turn on.
Like in a picosecond. Our amplifiers use not even a milliamp of current draw on the remote. I mean, less than a thousandth of an amp. So do you really think a bigger wire is going to make the amplifier produce more power? First of all, it's just a signal. It has nothing to do with the output power of the amplifier. And the other question is, will it make it sound better? It has nothing to do with the audio circuit. It just is a switch, just like your finger flipping a switch to turn the amplifier on. Yep. So no, you do not need to run anything bigger. I mean, you could run 22 gauge remote wire. It's not going to affect the performance at all. Yep. In fact, at less than a thousandth of an amp current draw for the remote, it would take a couple thousand amplifiers to even notice anything. So, yep, those were the 3 questions. Thanks for your question, guys. Remember, support@kicker.com. Which brings us to the couple fun things I always like to do. We got some installs we like to show, Kyle. I know you haven't been on the show before, and then you probably watched it, at least I hope you have. We've got, what do you think? Should we do cool installs or fails first? What do you want to do?
The fails hurt me.
So is that before or after?
I don't know. Do we get them over with?
What do you want to see first, Noah? You want to see fails? He says yes. He likes carnage. I do too. And there's a couple of these that I'm going to mention that may not necessarily be fails 100% across the board, but they're kind of fun and interesting to talk about. This one is definitely a fail as I zoom on this picture. Can you even understand what's going on there, Kyle?
It's just confusing.
It really is. So you've got a battery. Of course, the battery's mounted very close to the amplifier, so that is very good. But if you notice, the power wire comes to the battery, and it goes to the fuse block, goes through the fuse and to the power input of the, but wait a minute, there's also a wire that's running before the fuse to the power input of the amplifier. I don't know what they were trying to do here, but at least part of the input of that amplifier is fused, but technically none of it is, because even if the fuse blows, it's going to pull all the current through the other wire. So that, we chalk that up to a fail. Next failed, here again with power wires, not the proper way to make a fuse holder.
I mean, it will get you by in a pinch, John, if you need to get
get
home, right?
How they made that. The other thing I think is interesting, that almost looks like 8 gauge wire with a 30 amp fuse.
That is, that's pretty hefty.
And if you look at that fuse closely, it looks like it's melted.
Well,
and what causes that? Poor connection. So, can you spot all the problems? Well, the other thing is the brake lines are corroded, but that's totally different. Anyway, so where would we be without some screws and bolts on the wire connections?
Did MacGyver wire this thing up?
No, I think he even would have done a better job. I mean, I wish we could count all the problems with this install, starting from, there's that dang mouse that I just touch it and it moves. I keep talking about how I hate my mouse on my computer. But what is all this going on? I mean, not to mention the corrosion. And what is this screw supposed to be doing here in between? And that was a fuse. That's what that is. Okay, I just realized that's screwed into where a fuse should have gone in place. So it probably totally negates that 25 amp fuse. But even down here, usually the bridging are the 2 outer terminals. I don't even know what's connected. Nothing probably works. So definitely a fail on that one all the way across the board. How about that for a nice rigid mounting baffle.
Is that infinite baffle?
That is very infinite baffle. That is very free air, and is very not acoustically sound. I mean, wire ties are not your most rigid source of mounting, so we're going to give that one a fail. And of course, the other thing, you know, we're totally overlooking the fact that the woofer on the driver's side is mounted a little bit, you know, clockwise turn to it. So
That is the one thing that you would definitely point out.
that woofer is going to be
Mr.
probably
Symmetrical.
about 13 degrees out of phase with the other speaker, just because of the rotation of the driver.
Sure.
All right, how about some spray foam for, you know, building enclosure? And look at this, jeez, look at this poor plywood down here. I mean, I don't know if those are bullet holes or, but even the speakers in the rear deck, I can't tell if they're round or not, they're even mounted with spray foam. It is pretty sticky stuff. I mean, if you ever tried to get that off anything. And here, and then of course, obviously, you notice the white in the front, you got another speaker that's mounted against that enclosure. So totally different size, different brand in the same enclosure. Definitely not recommended there. Now the next fail picture is kind of an interesting one. This, if you have to jump start your car and you don't have any jumper cables,
And for some reason you have an extra
battery laying around, or you steal it out of the car next to you. And the funny thing is, we were having our meeting for this show, and one of the guys in the meeting said, "I've done that."
Yeah, my boss, the director of
You weren't supposed to say
R&D acoustics. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I did that.
Yep, and I honestly, you know, in a pinch, as long as you make sure the polarity's correct, it's gonna work. Maybe not great, but if you have to do it to get the car started,
I guess so.
and you don't have jumper cables. So that one's not totally a fail. That's the one I was kind of playing up, that it is a fail, but not 100%.
That's problem solved.
This, to me, is 100% fail. I mean, some of the speakers, I don't know how they get these things to look this bad. What type of a life have they had? But, man. Some type of bullet tweeters in the center here. This kind of looks like a PA speaker. Is that a siren?
Oh, yeah.
But look up the corner here. Looks like something took a bite out of that speaker.
Yeah. Well,
And if this is supposed to be a port, I don't know. And the wiring, how it tucks, anyway, we could just go on and on, but definitely a fail on that one. And so this is the last one. This is funny. I mean, what problems do you see right away, Kyle?
I don't see one problem there.
Nothing at all.
It's like those magnetic holders, those trays that you can put your screws in and bolts whenever you are
working on your car.
working on stuff. Yeah.
Well, and funny you say that, because if you notice the tweeter down there, it does have a screw stuck to it.
That's what stood out to me at first, yeah.
And it's right on top of the diaphragm, too, which I'm sure that helps sound quality. The fact that the speaker
tuned.
is somehow screwed into a paint can,
I love it.
and it's held in place with a wire tie.
Gosh, y'all are talking about fails, but I'm seeing people just solving problems.
Well, and creating more as they go. Now, the next exciting thing is, has anyone noticed the speaker in the background?
Yeah.
Mounted in the paint can. First of all, it's firing under I suppose that's the bed rail of a truck or something, or a Jeep. It's got a roll bar.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
notice the porting, where it looks like they just took a screwdriver and punched holes in the back of it to port it.
Well, that might have been accidental.
No, that looks pretty intentional, because they're almost symmetrical patterns. Yes, those are fails, guys. And once again, I hope you guys have fun with these. And if these, well, I got to say, if these are any of your personal pictures, take this all in stride and fun. We appreciate, you know, the humor at your expense, but it's been a lot of fun. So you don't need to shut the computer off or anything. We're going to jump right into the installs. I've got 5 pretty cool ones, I think. These are the cool picks. Steven's wondering, you know, what was. Of course, he can't see him anyway. He's just listening to us yap up here. What a cool looking install. I mean, I think, was Andy, were you the one that started the whole fur thing with Cookie Monster? I mean, I'm starting to see more and more installs with fur on them, which, ironically, the very first speakers I ever built in junior high woodshop had fur on them. I did not know how to do laminate. I did not know, I didn't want to paint them, so I literally covered them in fur. And I didn't even know how to glue it on back then. I actually took big thumbtacks, the big chrome, like 3/8 diameter,
Yeah.
and every inch I put a thumbtack to. They were great disco speakers. I mean, but white fur, but beautiful looking install. Like I say, whoever did this one, I love the teal ports. I mean,
That's like mink.
yeah.
Fur there. That's
Uh-oh,
fancy
now we're
stuff.
getting in the Endangered Species Act.
Yeah, careful now.
All right, next install. Someone spent a
yeah.
lot of time on this, making these nice little pods with the 2 3/4 inch and the 1 inch silk dome tweeter that we offer in the KS series. But absolutely gorgeous stitching, and just the fact that the way that the pods are built and that stitching follows everything perfectly. Nice job, whoever did this, and I bet it sounds absolutely incredible. And I like the little trim ring. You know, what do we call those screw hole covers, Kyle?
Screw hole
You want to vent a little bit on that when I'm pulling up the next picture?
Oh, man.
One of Kyle's claim to fame is the screw hole covers on the woofers, and if you don't put those on your woofers when you put them in, Kyle will call you out in the chat groups.
I'll troll you on the Kicker Club.
And if he doesn't, JW will. So
JW tags me so that I can do it.
So if you've got our speakers, and if you need the screw hole covers, I mean, we probably have some laying around. We can send them to you.
I'm pretty sure I've mailed some out to people.
He's called me out on it before, so
I'm definitely going to call you out, John. You should know better.
That was a neat install, and I absolutely love the idea, and for some reason that was an oversight on my part. I guess
I wonder if you stole some samples or something. You didn't get production stuff. You got some of our pre-production things, and they didn't.
It could have been. It was so long ago, I don't remember, but they were comp Qs.
They were, yeah.
And it was in a little Audi A5. I did an install for one of my best friends.
That car is so awesome.
Those speakers were originally, and I have to go back and look at my pictures. They're probably on the laptop here. Go back and find the picture. I had those speakers originally in my Corvette, and I don't remember if I had them on. They may have been, and I pulled them off and just never put them back on.
You had them on the Corvette, but
they got stuck to something and lost.
But I will say, Comp Q, the Q class L7s, those were the first lines of woofers that Kicker included the mounting hole covers, and from that point on, we have included mounting hole covers. So
with the exception of the X and the XS.
The XS do not have them. The Comp C and Comps do not have them. CVR, CVT do not have them, but L7T, CWRT, CWR, and there might be some more that I'm forgetting, have mounting hole covers. Please use the mounting hole covers if you want to clean up your install.
Yep, they do. Like I said, I don't like seeing wires and I don't like seeing screws. So how I missed that, I don't remember. But this next picture, actually, the more I look at it, probably should have been the fails as well. But we used to offer alternators.
That's not a fail. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. That's why it's in the installs, because, in fact, the last one of these alternators I had, I actually gave to a buddy of mine. I always wonder what he did with it. The only reason I say it kind of possibly could have been in a fail, and they may just be sitting there now that I look at it, because
they're just sitting there.
Yeah, there is no belt running to them, but the biggest fail I just noticed sitting here was that one bolt down here that is not tight.
Those are antiques. Those are classics.
Yeah, those are collectible. So let's look at this next one. Gorgeously clean install.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I love the way they put the logo on the amplifiers. The CX amplifiers didn't have that logo on them, and they may be laser etched, if not.
It does look like they're laser etched. They
but
might
just
be.
The cleanliness of the wiring. I mean, it absolutely.
Yeah, very cool presentation.
Yep, and it is very well balanced. So great install. And we were talking earlier about multiple HS. We got the HS10s here.
Yep.
But I bet that thing sounds killer.
Yep.
And very clean install.
Very
if you guys don't know, another little quick product plug here, but if you do have a single HS product or a single CX or a key amplifier and you want to run 2 amplifiers with 1 volume control, we do offer the DBRC, which allows you to take any of our amplifiers that have the 3.5 millimeter cable and connect them through 1 bass knob. And it is a really nice all-metal machine bass knob. I mean, it's got a good feel to it. And
it's essentially what we're including with the Warhorse amplifiers.
Yes.
It's a similar presentation. But yeah, that's what I'm using in my Ranger, is one of those dual remotes.
Works killer. All righty. I think that's pretty much all the stuff we need to do, other than probably give some things away. So, as we mentioned before, we like to give away stuff on every show, and we're going to do this in reverse. I'm going to let Kyle start off. Read the third place winner, which is going to get the TW1s, the koozie, and the T-shirt. And Colin, who's going to be our third place winner, or the first place for the TW1s?
Third place, that right there.
Brian P. from Texas.
Brian P. from Texas.
So Brian, congratulations. Watch for an email from Colin. You're going to need your name, your address, your shirt size, and a phone number, and definitely a mailing address. Once again, we can't ship to a P.O. box. They don't allow us to do that. But congratulations, you win the earbuds, the koozie, and the T-shirt. The second place winner is going to be Colin Numi S. from Florida. You're going to win the TW2s. So, which is a little bit better earbud with the the silicone tips for the earbuds, a little bit better seal, so a little bit more of an upgraded earbud with noise canceling. And then the grand prize winner for tonight will be...
Where's it at? Where are y'all reading this?
Right at the bottom of the screen right there.
Oh,
we're still waiting for
number
Colin.
2. Okay, Travis S. from Tennessee.
You're the grand prize winner, not of the $2,500 contest. That doesn't happen until December.
$2,500?
Yeah, but make sure you guys register for that one, because December 23rd, that's going to be a great Christmas present. And once again, I'll work with you guys to help you get the most equipment for your money and the best match for everything. So Travis, you're the grand prize winner tonight. Watch for that email. As always, we want to thank you guys for being on the show with us tonight. Thank you guys for your support. We can't do this without you, and especially I'm excited to hear what you guys are going to do with these XS woofers. And especially thanks to Kyle for finally letting us talk me into coming on to the show. Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be?
No.
No.
But,
yes.
Yeah, thanks.
I know
Thanks for having me.
It's not your comfort zone, but it is so important to get people like you up here to talk about the products. You really had absolutely hands-on in designing this product, and it's so neat to actually get to work with the people and see all the cool things.
Well,
my problem is I see all the cool stuff you do, and I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Until we release it.
Yeah, you do stop by frequently, and
I make it a point to wander through there just to see what's going on. Catch
sure.
you guys if you're doing anything I think we need to change. But
you'll tell us.
What happened to your support animal over there? It looks like...
Honestly, I have no clue. No idea where he's
I want
at.
to thank Noah for joining us tonight. It's been a lot of fun. Oh, real quickly, before we head off the air, I know we're at 9 o'clock. We always like to talk about having Texas Roadhouse for dinner. We did not have Texas Roadhouse for dinner tonight. So my wife is going to be disappointed because I used to take home the rolls. We use them for sandwiches later.
Absolutely.
But where did we go, Kyle? We actually went out tonight.
Yeah, we went out.
Very unusual.
Yeah, miso.
We went out, had some Asian, had some hibachi.
Yep.
So thanks to the guys there for wonderful hibachi, and thanks
Delicious.
for Steve and Tom and the guys for letting us do this. It's neat to all get together before the show and have dinner and talk about the things we're going to talk about and make it happen. So I've rambled enough for one night. We're a half hour past the normal show time. But
I thought we were going to be short tonight. Hey,
well,
Andy,
we
would you look at it?
We can't
would
make
you just
short
look
jokes.
at it?
Yeah, we can't make short jokes. We've already been called on that. So,
Yeah.
well, we haven't, but somebody else has. So.
I'm used to it. It's fine.
But anyway, Andy's show. Don't forget, tune in for Andy, Living Loud with Andy. And I think, what is Kicker Club up to? How about almost 70,000 members now?
I don't know.
I don't know. I knew
it's
it was
crazy.
about that. So, just look at it, Kyle.
I know. I have been.
Too funny.
You look at it. Would you look at it?
He wants you to do more than look at it, but that's all he can do at the moment because he doesn't get one. I don't even get one of these yet. Literally, we had to scrape to find these three.
Well, I know
actually,
where they're at.
Stephen, can you pull the camera out just a little bit? The one that's focused on stuff, you can see what else is up here, like next to us. So we had to tighten the camera up a little bit, but the entire show, the 15 and the 18 have been hanging in the wings back here. So there you see the 12, the 15, and the 18 in the XS series. So we did all that work to put these on the table, so I figured you guys at least needed to see them. So thanks again, guys. Have a great evening, and most of all, You and your families have a very happy, wonderful, safe Thanksgiving, and hopefully you guys get a long weekend. And we will see you back here Tuesday night in 2 weeks at 7:30 Central Time for another fantastic episode of Kicker Unmasked. Cheers. Good night.
Our surge, the final word.